So we've got an arithmetic sequence here, but the terms that they gave us are the 21st term and the 25th term. They're also telling us that the first term is going to have the notation A subscript 1. That's because sometimes they can use 0 to represent the first term or 1 to represent the first term. So they're just telling us to use the number 1 for the first term. First thing we're going to do is find the common difference. The common difference is the number that you add or subtract to get from one term to the next. But we don't have consecutive terms here. The 21st term is not next to the 25th term. So in order to find the common difference, you have to think about how far away from each other these terms are. Let's say I add the common difference once to the 21st term. If I add it once, that gets me to the 22nd term. If I add it again, I would be at the 23rd term. Again is the 24th. And then again would be the 25th term. So starting with the 21st term, if you add the common difference 4 times, you have now moved to the 25th term. So if I clean it up, that would be plus 4D. In the problem, they told us the 21st and the 25th term, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute those in. And that gives me 10.2 plus 4 common differences equals 11. And now we can solve for the common difference. I'm going to subtract 10.2. We would get 4D is equal to 0.8. Divide by 4. And your common difference is 0.2. So we would be adding 0.2 to get to each next term. Next, we're going to write the recursive formula. The recursive formula is really easy. All you need is the common difference, which is what we just found. Because you're just taking the previous term and adding the common difference to find the term in question. So all I have to do is plug in 0.2 and I'm done. That would be our recursive formula. Next, it says which term is required to write the explicit formula. The explicit formula contains the first term. And in this case, they're using A subscript 1 as the first term. They didn't give us the first term, so the next thing we're going to do is find it. And we're actually going to use the explicit formula. So if you were unsure what that is, here's the explicit formula. We are going to plug in different numbers so that A sub 1 is the only thing left that's unknown. That way we can solve for it. Now we are going to use some of the information they gave us at the beginning of the problem. We know that the 21st term is 10.2. And we know the 25th term is 11. It does not matter which one you choose to use. I'm going to use the 25th term equals 11. If you want, you may want to use the 21st term and see that you will get the same answer as me here. So if I'm plugging in my 25th term, that means n equals 25. We also know our common difference. We found that earlier. And now we know a sub 25, it's 11. We don't know the first term. 25 minus 1 is 24. And now that the first term is the only variable left in there that we don't know, we can solve. So 24 times 0.2 is 4.8. The last thing I need to do is subtract that to the other side. So we get that the first term is 6.2. The last part of the question is to find the explicit formula. I wrote that earlier. If you're ever going to write your explicit formula, you need two things. So I said earlier, for the recursive formula, you just need the common difference. For the explicit formula, you need the common difference, but you also need the first term. So the first term was 6.2. Common difference was 0.2. Now, sometimes you can leave it like this, depending on what the question is asking. Or if it's a multiple choice question or something, and this is not one of your options, it's because it was simplified. So if I simplify it, I'm going to distribute the common difference. And then I'm going to combine like terms. And this is the other way that you can write your explicit formula. So it's either this one or this would also be correct if you didn't have to simplify.